student loan debt is now a $1 trillion bubble, and at this point, I think it's safe to say that it is bound to burst one day. We don't know when, but this level of debt is unsustainable, and it's crippling to millennials, and it hurts the economy, because if you have this much debt and millions of millennials making high monthly payments, then they can't stimulate the economy. They can't purchase things to help the economy grow. So student loan debt isn't just bad for people that graduate. It's bad for everyone who is participating in this economy, because we need people to have purchasing power and we need them to spend money to stimulate the economy. And if you are burdened by thousands upon thousands of dollars in student loan debt, you just can't do that. And for a whole generation to be bogged down by this, it's not healthy. It's not healthy mentally, it's not healthy for the economy, and it's not healthy for the future of American education, because if incoming college students see that their peers are getting bogged down by thousands upon thousands of dollars in loan debt, then they might be disinclined to even go to school. And there's multiple problems with that. If you choose not to go to college, well, that limits your ability to find a good paying job. Also, if people stop going to college, that's a problem. I think education in and of itself is intrinsically good. We want an educated populace because that's how, as a society, we progress. So the fact that student loan debt is such an issue is a problem. However, a new study shows exactly what we can do to help out students and grow the economy simultaneously. So Jillian Berman of MarketWatch explains, wiping away the $1.4 trillion in outstanding loan debt for the 44 million Americans who carry it could boost the GDP by between $86 billion and $108 billion per year on average for the 10 years following the debt cancellation, according to a report published by the Levy Economics Institute of Bard College. Getting rid of debt would also lower the average unemployment rate by 0.22 to 0.36 percentage points over 10 years and could add between 1.2 million and 1.5 million jobs per year, it found. That is a dollar-for-dollar bump up in their net worth, said Stephanie Kelton, a professor of economics at Stony Brook University and one of the authors of the report. In addition to becoming wealthier, these borrowers would have more disposable income to spend on houses, cars, vacations, and other goods, which could fuel job growth. So this is absolutely huge. Make no mistake about it. It not only vindicates progressives, but it also validates Dr. Jill Stein, who, as the Green Party nominee in 2016, she pushed for U.S. debt cancellation when it comes to college students. She was one of the first major American politicians to do that, and she was critiqued by people on the left. Even John Oliver criticized her plan to cancel student loan debt. But as we see here, now this would in fact grow the economy, and really this is a no-brainer. Now there's some drawbacks. People would say it would increase the deficit, and of course, taxpayers wouldn't get the revenue back that they would accumulate, based on from the interest from those loans. But who cares? I don't care about the deficit, because at the end of the day, a higher deficit is less important than individuals being able to spend money and grow the economy. That helps everyone out. So there are also other ways to trim the deficit if you really want to trim it, and you don't have to screw over Americans as well. So clearly, after seeing this study, I have no doubt in my mind that progressives have to make this a plank of their platform. And I'm not just talking about progressive candidates. I'm talking about progressives in general. We need to talk about this alongside Medicare for All and tuition-free public colleges and universities, because I've said in the past that I really like Bernie Sanders' plan to make college free, to make it akin to high school, just make it a public good, because I think it's an excellent way to prevent future students from taking on massive student loan debt. But the problem with Bernie's plan is that it doesn't do much to solve the problem now for the student loan debt that's already been created. So the direction is clear. If we want to grow the economy, if we want relief for 44 million students, we need to cancel student loan debt. And we don't necessarily have to do this all at once, although that's preferable, but we need to at least move in that direction. However, just days after this report came out, President Trump released a budget proposal that would take us in the opposite direction. So as Annie Nova of CNBC explains, the The proposal would sharply curtail income-based loan repayment plans, scratch the public service loan forgiveness program, embolden the government to go after students who don't pay their loans, and cut funding for federal work-study in half. Trump's budget would also eliminate subsidized loans. Some 5.7 million students had subsidized loans in the 2016 to 2017 academic year, according to Mark Kantrowitz, a student loan expert. However, graduate students would have their loans forgiven after 15 years compared with 20 years now, so they'd be paying more per month but less overall. Graduate students, meanwhile, would not have their loans forgiven for 30 years. So after this report comes out, Donald Trump announces, no, we're going to go in the opposite way. Instead of canceling student loan debt, we're going to make sure that that gets even more difficult for them to pay back. And that last part that this article promoted as a benefit, where their loans are forgiven after 15 years, that's actually not a benefit if they're paying more per month. In my opinion, anyways, I think that, the fact that you're paying less overall, that's good. But the fact that they're paying more per month, 15 years is a long amount of time. Now, to be clear, this is just a budget proposal. This hasn't been codified into law. This is what he wants to do. It's basically an objective that he has. But it just signifies that he wants to move us in the completely opposite direction. And even if we get a Democratic administration, will they be bold enough to just outright cancel student loan debt? We saw the benefits. It grows the economy. It creates jobs. It increases purchasing power of students with student loan debt. And that's just a no-brainer to me. How much are people paying back each month? Upwards of $500? That is a mortgage. That's a car payment. So how do you think the economy is going to grow if we have an entire generation crippled with student loan debt that basically can never be repaid? The answer is that it can't. So student loan debt cancellation is now something that I'm going to talk about a lot more, because we now have evidence. We now have a study that validates what we thought would happen. And it's not that I was disinclined to talk about this beforehand, because I was always in favor of canceling student loan debt, but I just kind of feel emboldened, right? We were proven right again about a policy, that another progressive policy, canceling student loan debt, would do wonders for the economy. It would grow the GDP, grow the economy. So it's time we do it.
Support this podcast by becoming a patron at patreon.com/Humanist Report.